Okay, so there is a new dam that is ready on the Blue Nile now in Africa. The largest dam in Africa called Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam. Grand GERD Dam. GERD Dam is ready in Ethiopia and inauguration has been done by the president of Ethiopia, Mr. Abiy. Mr. Abiy Ahmed or something, Mr. Abiy. Mr. Abiy, President, Honorable President of Ethiopia, he has inaugurated a very largest dam in Africa and known as GERD, Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam, and that dam has been built on the Blue Nile River. This is completely wrong thing what the Ethiopia has done. Why it is wrong thing that it will prove. But anyway, what President Mr. Abiy is talking about the GERD. GERD dam is on Nile River. Nile is a river which begins from the Lake Victoria, and Lake Victoria is a lake. That lake is shared by three countries. One is Tanzania, one is Kenya, and one is Uganda. Okay, that very big lake is called Lake Victoria, and from Lake Victoria, many rivers they come and meet the Lake Victoria. Or one is the primary river that I have not noted down that form the Lake Victoria, and from Lake Victoria, one water stream comes out, and that water stream then it flows through the Uganda, and then it enters into South Sudan nowadays. Actually, it was Sudan. Okay, Juba, it goes till Zuba, and then it flows to the nowadays it is called North Sudan, and then it enters the Al Khartoum, that is the capital of North Sudan. In Al Khartoum, one very big river called Blue Nile, carrying a lot of water, Blue Nile coming from Ethiopia, and then it merges with the main Nile that is flowing 3,700 kilometers, that is running for 3,700 kilometers, reaching the Al Khartoum. And from there, around probably 1,500 kilometers, one Blue Nile river is meeting the. So this Nile is called White Nile, and that Nile from Ethiopia it is called Blue Nile. And then it proceeds further. Then in Ethiopia also one more river comes and meets called Red Nile or Black Nile. It comes from Ethiopia only. It looks like Ethiopia is a mountainous country, and then from Ethiopia, two Nile comes from Ethiopia and they meet the main Nile that is coming from Uganda. And then one is called Blue Nile and one is called Red Nile. And then it proceeds in the Sudan and it forms a very famous S curve. Means if this is the Nile that is flowing, if this is the Nile that is flowing from the Uganda and it is flowing like this, when it is coming end of the end of the Sudan, then the Nile River turns like this out of sudden, and then it flows like this. So it is this line is coming from the Sudan when it is at the border of Egypt. It turns like this and then it flows like this, and then it enters the Egypt. Okay, I forgot the name of the place where the mainly kind of the first, I believe, the population of Egypt is seen out there. There is a sun temple out there. Okay, that is the very anyway. Now focus is on the dam that is built over 14 years. 2011, the commencement of GERD dam, GERD dam. That commencement happened in 2011 and 2025. 14 years it took, with a $5 billion investment, and one Italian company called We Build. We Build is the Italian company which built this dam. This dam would produce around 6,000 megawatt of electricity, and then it will be used for the irrigation purpose also. Now Ethiopia is boasting that this much electricity is 60% usage of Ethiopia. Means more or less electricity what is produced here, full Ethiopia will grow with this electricity. 60% means full Ethiopia will grow. Not only that, they will sell this electricity to Kenya, to Eritrea. To Eritrea is another country, and then they will sell it to Saudi Arabia also. This is what the plan is. but nothing comes for the free. Now the water that was going from Blue Nile into the Sudan and finally it was coming to the main line of the Nile River, that water will be contaminated if you take the electricity out of the water. The power of water decreases. I don't know it is scientific or not scientific, but someone can try. If you take out the electricity from the water, it looks like the electricity is because of the potential energy that the dam is carrying, but water quality degraded. It's not that straightforward that someone is falling. So low quality water will go to the Nile and it will affect the flora and fauna, means aqua life, fish life, or what. In Nile River, there are Nile River is a habitat of many animals also, like Nile crocodile and those many animals, they rely upon the Nile River, birds and everything. When water quality will degrade, then it will affect flora and fauna. Then good agriculture in the Egypt and nice agriculture in Sudan also. Completely, Nile is called a river of Sahara Desert. Means Nile is a life of Sahara Desert. Nile you cannot touch like this. On upon Nile, full earth depends upon. Nile is the longest river in the world, more than 6,500 kilometers. And it is a single river that grows from the Uganda. Only two rivers they come and meet the Nile. Otherwise, it is a more or less single river only. Touching this river means touching the earth civilization. That is that crucial. And in that fashion, stopping the Blue Nile completely, Ethiopia, it is something that is condemnable, highly condemnable. You cannot do like this. Now, in 2017-18 time frame, Donald Trump was president of United States, and there was a war kind of situation between Egypt and Ethiopia, and somehow he mediated. Now when the inauguration of this dam was happening in the near the dam only, then the Egypt president and Sudanese president, they were missing out there, whereas Kenyan president and Somalia president, so they were available out there. Okay, and CEO of the We Build company was available there. This is something that is a black sign in the history of civilization. When someone is trying to stop Nile River, if Nile River stops, Nile River is a perpetual river. Full year Nile River flows. Okay, in summertime the flow of the water will be less, but Nile never dry out. Nile is similar to river Ganga in India, which never dry out, never. Okay, Nile River is loosely connected to Kilimanjaro range in Tanzania. Means whatever the ice melt in the Kilimanjaro, ice in Kilimanjaro itself is zero now. Earlier, people say that it was a very heavy ice or snow, or someone can say glacier they used to make on the Kilimanjaro range earlier, 40, 50 days, 50 years back only. Very thick glaciers were there, and those glaciers, water when it melt down, finally it goes to the Lake Victoria only. Means it was perpetual from the this mountain only, and then mountains in the Ethiopia whatsoever. If Nile dries out for a second also, then there will be a big calamity on the earth. That is for sure. Anyway, we will read it out. What is the dam is, and how much prosperity it will bring to Ethiopia. In contrast to, it will bring devastation to the Sudan and Egypt. Not only Sudan and Egypt, the full world is tied with the Nile. Nile cannot be touched in this fashion. There is a river, there is a dam that Sangwan, I believe Sangwan. Sangwan is the first town that Nile sees when it enters into Egypt. Okay, Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam, GERD. Okay, Ethiopia is a small country with 13 crore people live out there. 135 million people they live in Ethiopia. I don't know what is the area of this country. Okay, now billion project they are making the dam. They made the dam 5,000, not 6,000, 5,000 megawatt of electricity that will be produced, and that will lighten the full Ethiopia uh, plus Kenya plus Eritrea and then Saudi Arabia also. Okay, Nile, the dam is 1.8 kilometer wide. That is extremely big dam. If someone is running on the dam, if consider if this is the river that is falling, if this is the river, if this is the river that is falling, this is the river. This, oh, this is the river. And dam is like this. If someone travels on the dam, this river they have dammed it. Or if I talk in flat manner, if this is the river that is flowing, they make the dam here. If someone walk out on the dam, then this water from here to here, it is 1.8 kilometer. Overall, the net water that is accumulating in the dam, it makes a lake there now. That water is around one, I believe it is 1,800 square kilometer of the water area it is storing now. It is a very big dam, 74 billion meter cube volume water it is storing. Okay, what about Blue Nile? Blue Nile is a Nile that meets the White Nile in Al Khartoum, and that length of Blue Nile is 1,450 kilometers, and its origin is in Ethiopia only, 2,650 meter altitude from Lake Tana in Ethiopia. Okay, and it is tribute Blue Nile is tributary to the White Nile, or someone say White Nile and Blue Nile meet in Al Khartoum, where actual Nile River starts from there. This can also be sent. Blue Nile, Blue Nile, it is tributary are Basilo, Walenga, Jama, Mugar, Guder, Gulia, Dides, and Dabus. From left side, from right side, Beles, Dindar, and Rahat. So these are the river. They meet the Blue Nile. Anyway, if I talk about the Nile River completely from the Lake Victoria, then it is 6,650 kilometers long. Okay, the river system that if it rains, then water go and finally come to the Nile River from many countries, like Democratic Republic of Congo, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan, and Egypt. So these many countries, rainwater finally comes to the Nile only. Nile is extremely important river. Anyway, I believe day before yesterday there was inauguration of this dam, which started in 2011. Kenyan President Mr. William Ruto, very famous name, William Ruto. Okay, Somalia President Mr. Hassan Sheikh and Ethiopia President Mr. Abiy Ahmed and CEO of We Build company Mr. Vetro Salini from Italy. So he was also there. Now he is talking about this Nile dam will regulate the water. Means if if it is a heavy rain happens, then it will stop the water and there won't be any flood. But what about if it doesn't rain? Then it will stop the water only. Okay, anyway, and then it is a kind of it is just merely 9 miles away from the Sudanese border. So Ethiopia is a country that is east to Sudan. Blue Nile River flow westward, and when it is going to meet the Sudan border, just 9 miles away from it in Ethiopia, they have made the dam. Means full Ethiopia people would enjoy the river the way they were enjoying earlier. Only people from the Sudan they will meet the curse. Anyway, if I talk about the Nile River is met by two rivers. One is Blue Nile in Al Khartoum, and after Al Khartoum, one more river comes from Ethiopia only, called Atbara River, and that river, also known as Red or Black Nile, that is 805 kilometers long and discharge. Now let's talk about the discharge. Why Blue Nile is so much important as far as the sustainability of the Nile River is concerned. If I talk White Nile River that goes from the Lake Victoria from the Uganda and it goes till Al Khartoum, the discharge of White Nile River, if I talk about the discharge of White Nile River, what is the discharge? Then it is discharge of White Nile River is 878 meter cube per second. 878 meter cube per second of the water White Nile is bringing to Al Khartoum. If I talk about the Blue Nile, then it is bringing 1548 meter cube per second. It is more or less double of the White Nile. Means Nile sustainability, Nile life, it depends upon the Blue Nile more as far as water is concerned. 1548 meter cube per second, whereas the White Nile brings 878 meter cube per second. If I talk about the Atbara River, Red Nile, that meets afterward after the Al Khartoum, then that brings 374 meter cube per second of the water. Means if I talk about the length of the Nile River, then White Nile that starts from the Lake Victoria, that is the main river. Otherwise, if I talk about the water, then Blue Nile is the river that brings the water, and dam is on Blue Nile only. Means there is a high chance that this Nile will dry out if it doesn't rain in Ethiopia. In that fashion, then there will be a big disaster as far as the world livelihood is concerned. This will change the world completely as far as its balance of the creativity in the world is concerned. Anyway, we will talk about Nile more about it. Anyway, let's talk about the rainfall. How much rainfall happens? Why dependency is on river in Sudan and Ethiopia and Egypt. Primarily in Sudan and Egypt. Sudan and Egypt, they are heavily dependent upon the Nile River because they are on Sahara Desert. If I talk about the rainfall in the Egypt, then it is 18 millimeter per year. That is very less rain it happens in Egypt. 18 millimeter per year. That's it. If I talk about Sudan, then it is 200 millimeter per year. That is 20 centimeter per year. And Egypt 2 centimeter per year. If I talk about India, 210 centimeter per year. We see how much it rains in Sudan and Egypt. They are completely dependent upon the Nile water. Completely. If I talk about Ethiopia, then in mountains of Ethiopia, it rains 2000 means 200 centimeter per year. Means it rains nicely in Ethiopia. That's why water is this much. Okay, if it does not, means Nile water is completely dependent upon rainfall in Ethiopia. There is no rainfall in Uganda and Egypt. If they stop that rainfall, then there is a life threatening for the Nile River. Ethiopia must understand this. Or Egypt and Sudan, they have to give some benefit to the Ethiopia so that they will not do like this. Anyway, if I talk about the Nile River after coming out from the Lake Victoria, then it enters into Lake No in the South Sudan. And there it is met by two another river. One is Bahar al Ghazal and one is Bahar al Jabal. Bahar al Jabal and Bahar al Ghazal. These two rivers they meet and they form Lake Eno, where White Nile River is coming. White Nile River is coming from Uganda, enters into South Sudan, and then it goes to Lake Eno, where in Lake Eno, two more rivers come and meet. It is like a trio river, and that is Bahar al Ghazal and Bahar al Zaba. Other river also meet, that we will see. Anyway, so this is not a very good news that someone is trying to stop Blue Nile, that is a lifeline for the Nile. I believe they will understand today or tomorrow that stopping river is not a permanent solution to the power and irrigation and this kind of thing. People have to work more. Rain happens because you do yajna. This is what King Krishna he talks about Gita. Rain happens because everyone is dependent upon the rain, including agriculture. And rain happens when you do yajna. And yajna means not the fire that you burn out. That is not the yajna. This is what Krishna says. What is yajna? Arjun asked in the Gita, what is yajna? Yajna means karma. When you work, that is called yajna. And when you work a lot, it attracts the cloud and it rains.